Hello, this is Dorothy Smith. I'm a Close to My Heart independent consultant, and this is the third challenge that I'm doing this week. So the first one was Mojo Monday, and that was my shaker card, and the next one was the Atlanta Card Sketch Challenge, and there's my card for that with the inside, and I still really like that font. And then today I am doing the January 2019 Sketchy Challenge Creative Scrapbooker Magazine. And I'm still using generally the Color Dare Color Challenge with the sketch for the Creative Scrapbooker Magazine. So I spent some time kind of planning out what I wanted to put where, and all of these pieces, except for the squares, were cut with our die cuts, our thin cuts. So of course the squares were cut with my regular paper cutter, and the little hearts there are confetti from my thin cut set. That's the shaker window, thin cut, and confetti set. So that's super cute, and I thought I would use the confetti because I will put a little window down in the corner. Now the paper that I've used is from the Feels Like Home paper, and I cut out from the floral the word family, but it just was too light to go on the white background, which is all of the paper is from Feels Like Home. And so I cut a duplicate of family and used the charcoal gray, the grayish paper, to do a drop shadow on it. And then the X's and O's are from a piece of sugar plum cardstock, and that's the zip strip from one of the papers, and it was perfect for this. It says love, home, happy together, warm and cozy, blessed, joy, grateful, and our story. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for this layout that I have in mind. So I cut a whole bunch of circles, the larger circles, from using both sides of the various papers from Feels Like Home, using the large circle cutter, thin cut. And then I used the stitched hearts. You can see the stitch look more on the back on the dark part. You can't really see it on the glitter, but it's there. So I used the stitched hearts thin cuts to make all my hearts. And this funny looking little piece is from the confetti. And I thought, well, that's kind of cute. Why not go ahead and use the leftover from the confetti? And so I thought, no, what the heck? So let's just use it all. So I'm just going to get all the little pieces out of the way, and I'll put the hearts, I'll kind of tuck them in here and there after I put the large circles down. They're not real large. They're like 3 1/4, 3 1/2, and probably 3 1/4 inch circles. So I should have used more of the floral. That is so pretty. And only a little bit of it peeks out, but that's the one that has I cut out in family. So if you notice, they have circles going down from top right to lower left, and so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to line them up perfectly. I'm going to kind of stagger them as you go down from corner to corner. And I'm just going to use my Tombow adhesive to put the circles in place. And I really cut a lot of hearts. It took me probably 20 minutes or so to do all the die cuts. Kind of once I had it in my head what I wanted to do, then it kind of went pretty quickly. So the background paper is one of the Feels Like Home papers, and it's a whitewash wood look. I don't know how easily you can see that. The back side is the green, but it's kind of leaves on the back side. Same color green as the little leaves on the floral paper. And I like all the black and white. So that's why I thought the little zip strip down at the bottom in black and white will be perfect. See, there's the the leaves on the back side. So I really liked this whitewash wood look. I really love the wood papers. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my title in. And I didn't really want my title to go across, bumping into where I'm going to put a picture. So I am going to use our liquid glass to put this down, and mostly because the font is so thin in some areas that using the Tombow, kind of Tombow's about a, I don't know, little over a quarter of an inch, not quite a half an inch thick, and so I didn't want all the Tombow sticking out hither and yon and kind of being a mess. So I just thought I'd dot the liquid glass along the letters to hold them in place. So that's what I'm doing here. And that should, the liquid glass is such a permanent ink that it should do a good job of holding the title down. So, and that's sort of what I use to do the drop shadow on that family background there. So you can just see it's the same paper as that darker look with the hexagons on it. And I'm also going to use the liquid glass to hold down my X's and O's, which just happens to be my signature on my .scrapbooking blog. So I thought that was perfect to go with my family. So sometimes the liquid glass gets a little cloggy, so I use my piercing tool to kind of run it down there. I need to keep a pin close at hand when I'm using the liquid glass. So anyway, there we go. And then it comes out in a flood, of course. So there, we've got that. And I'm using the darker side of the sugar plum just to make it stand out good. And so I like the way that looks. Now, I lost the dot to the I, and I thought, well, who needs that when you've got sugar plum glitter gems? So that's going to be, that's what I'm going to use to dot my I. And of course, I'm using my piercing tool to move my glitter gem around. So that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Better than that dot from the thin cut. They're so sparkly. They're like my fingernails. Just, yeah, you think I like sparkle. I love sparkle. So, proof. So now I'm going to just kind of randomly place as random as you can be when you're making judgment calls, but I'm just kind of generally randomly place the hearts around, which I love to do after I glue things down. So now I have to lift them up and kind of tuck them in. So anyway, I'm going to just run these hearts up and down both sides of my circle line, and I decided to cut out some glitter. We also have the glitter paper. Yeah, see how cute that is. How could I not use that? We also have the glitter paper in sugar plum, and it is so glitzy. So I did use some of that also. But see, I couldn't help myself. I had to use the leftovers from the making confetti. And the cool thing about making confetti, we have hearts and stars in our confetti thin cuts. And the cool thing is, when you use our cardstock, So both sides are color. One side is darker than the other. And it's a perfect lesser shade of the original color. And so if the confetti flips over, then it doesn't really matter. So if I make confetti with the glitter paper, you know, that's all well and pretty, but sometimes the confetti might flip, and then you've got, you know, just the white side, and it wouldn't show up on the white paper here. And so here I am just kind of, and I'm trying to go between, you know, putting, kind of evening out the colors as much as I can. And so I do like that little sugar plum glitter heart. He's very cute. And just a perfect little place for him to tuck out of. And then I'm sticking to everything here. So here we go. I even like the stripe paper. It just adds some boldness amongst all the kind of pale pink. So I think that actually helps to make the, you know, whole layout pop more. So I put two pinks next to each other, and I should have been more careful about that. And so I want to put something that really kind of takes some eye space away from the fact that there's, you know, the two pinks right next to each other. And it really won't make a whole lot of difference because I will be putting a square for pictures. There'll be 3 pictures going down the center, and the 2 outer ones will be for 3 by 3 pictures. So I cut the squares 3 1/4. The darker paper is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then the sugar plum squares that I cut are 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, and so then I'll have 3 by 3 pictures to go on the inside. So there'll be a little bit of a dark edge sticking out from the pictures. So now I'm just putting the zip strip down at the bottom, just kind of finish off the bottom there. And I'm going to tuck that circle to be over my zip strip. There we go. See, it just adds a little finish down there instead of everything just kind of falling off the bottom. So I need to put my confetti someplace so it doesn't go crazy. So I'm putting my Tombow on the back of my first frame for the picture, and then I'm going to Tombow again on the sugar plum part, and then I'll put it on top of some of these circles that I've cut circles and hearts. And so it's kind of painful to do that because you don't like to cover anything up, but see how the hearts and what have you peek, the hearts and the circles peek out here and there. So you know, that's okay. I'm good with that. So gotta put my little confetti someplace, just hoping that it doesn't go blowing off anywhere. So anyway, here I am putting this is going to be the top frame for the picture, for the 3 by 3. And see how there's just a little bit of an edge. Since each square is cut 1/4 of an inch bigger than the prior square, there'll be an 1/8 of an inch border showing. And that's just enough to show the pink without it being you know, too much pink. I've got a lot of pink on this page, and so I decided to use the pink glitter. Now I've said before that the Tombow doesn't stick well to the glitter paper, so I put it on there, and of course it doesn't stick well. I'm thinking somehow maybe it's changed, but no, indeed it hasn't, and then it comes off real easily. So I'm going to put some of the squares from my favorite thing, the inside of the leftovers from the shaker window. And so I'm just going to hit up the 4 corners, and that'll be plenty to hold it in place. And it'll just raise it up a little bit for a little bit of dimension. So that's okay. That's fine. And it sticks, the foam pieces stick very well to the glitter paper. It's hard for things to stick to that glitter paper, but the foam does fine. So I'm just removing the outer core. These, I tell you, these foam squares are very sticky. When they start sticking to something, it's hard to get them loose. So there we go. My fingernails kind of clash with my layout. So I'm going to put another one of those remainders of the confetti. And what I'm doing with the piercing tool, since I went over it with Tombow, is there are little webs of the Tombow glue, and I don't particularly want that to show, so I'm kind of using my piercing tool to kind of get the cobwebs out of the way. So now I can put the Tombow on the back of the glitter paper, and that's no problem. That does just fine. And I'm going to cover one corner of the top picture and one corner of the bottom picture. And there we go. So I think that's going to look real pretty with the with my pictures on it, my family pictures. So now I'm going to I put another little glitter heart there. I'm just putting some odds and ends little hearts. I actually think I've got plenty on there, but I get into this mode of too much is not enough, and then all of a sudden I'm over the top. So what I want to do is put the shaker window. So I'm going to start making the shaker window, and I've got my disc, and then I've got my foam in there. See, I tell you, they're really sticky, so they're sticking to each other. Okay, so what I forgot to do, and I can't believe I forgot it, is to take my poker tool, my piercing tool, and move around the edge of the rim and the squares. And I can't believe I forgot to do that, because I've been pretty good about doing it. And so when I put this in place, and I'm putting it directly, I didn't make a separate backing for the shaker window. I'm putting it directly on my layout, which was kind of gutsy. And when I did it, I thought, God, I hope this works. So anyway, here we go. I'm trying to press it down, so now I've got to try to coerce the inside pieces to come up, and it was a little bit harder since I didn't use my piercing tool to loosen it up, and it was much more difficult than if I had done it. And what makes it difficult is some of the pieces just didn't come up with it, so I had to take them off afterwards and pull them up and then try to lay them back down on something where they would stick instead of they were sticking to my fingernails is what they were doing. So it got a little bit tougher. So now I've got several pieces that stayed down at the bottom. So like I said, now they're sticking to my finger, and they're so sticky that it's hard to get them to come off. And I start getting annoyed. But here we go, getting the last few pieces off, and then I can put I thought I was just going to put the confetti in the circle, but I kind of decided, I had cut so many hearts with my die cuts that I kind of decided to put some of the little hearts inside the circle there. So, which was probably a little bit too much once again, but I did it because I should have my motto is too much is not enough. See, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should just put the confetti. Nope, got to put some more in there. So I'm taking the littlest of my hearts, and I'm going to put them so that they're 3 different patterns. So there's going to be the pink one, and these are the tiniest of the stitched hearts, and they're so sweet. I mean, that's a cute, really nice little thin cut set. And all of the information will be either on my blog or below the video on my YouTube page, if you decide that you see something that you like. But I don't even think that set is very expensive either. It's probably like $9.95 or something. So there's 2 little hearts, and then I was thinking of putting a big one, but no, and that one I already stuck down. That one would have been cute. And so what do I have here? I think it's a striped one. We'll see. It'll be a surprise to us all. No, it's the darker gray one. Okay. So I'm going to put my confetti in place. So there's my little hearts, and they're starting to stick to the rim, which is not good. And so I decide that in addition to the hearts, I'm going to put a few sequins. And then I put a few more. Like I said, too much is not enough. Can't just stop there. Got to put some more. So the difficult part comes, and now they're sticking to my fingernails because there's static electricity. And so the hard part comes when I'm trying to put the window on. And even though I use my little anti-static pad to rub on the window, still when I put the window on top, I have a little bit of difficulty getting the film off because I forgot to bring my eraser, my glue eraser with me to find the edge real quickly. It does it instantaneously as opposed to my fingers that fumble around trying to find the edge of it. But it gets there. So as soon as I put the window on top, even though like I said, I use the anti-static on it, you'll see all the sequins and some of the hearts, they just come flying up to meet the window. And so it's really annoying, even though I've got the anti-static in place. And see, you can just see them pop up, hitting the window. And then they start getting in the way of the glue rim, and then they're standing up like yesterday or the day before, where they're sticking up instead of laying down. Then they stick to the piercing tool. It's fun. Really it is. And so, woohoo! Fun with making shaker cards. But I think it's fun to have, this isn't a card, this is a layout, but I think it's fun to have the shaker on a layout. And so don't be thinking that shakers are just for cards, even though that's mostly where you see them. I mean, one of the consultants took her son to the beach for the first time, and they gathered up some little teeny shells and some sand from the beach, and she put that in a shaker on her layout with her son. So, I mean, now there's a memento there for however long they have the albums as they get passed down, and he can show it to his kids the first beach he went to. So don't be stuck in just confetti or sequins. Okay, so there I had made the decorative piece to go over the shaker card, and did it in the sugar plum glitter paper. And so there we go. So I'm trying to get the confetti to move around. And anyway, I like the way it looks, and it adds a little bit of a different touch. And so, you know, I still have some hearts left over, so what do? I have another one of the confetti hearts left, and so You know, I just hate to cut things out and not use them. That's my problem. I want to use everything. And so I'm going to take, that's just too much. So what I'm going to do on this one is, I have the darker color of the sugar plum showing up on the other two. And I'm going to place that one up at the top, but I'm going to use the lighter shade of the sugar plum and just have a continuity and have a third piece, because you kind of want to have things in threes, not just, you don't want things to be, you know, totally necessarily completely symmetrical. And there's something about things in threes that works a little bit better artistically. So that's my excuse for using that, and I'm sticking with it. So there's my third piece down at the top there, and I'm happy with the way that looks. And so I'm just trying to figure out, am I finished, or it really does look finished. It looks like there's plenty on there. But then I kind of look at my sugar plum gorgeous glitter gems and decide, oh, why can't you put some more glitter gems on there, and just kind of put them around the centerpiece. And so I start putting those little glitter gems just here and there around, and you know, they're so pretty. I hate to not use them. You know, the one thing you don't want to do with your scrapbooking supplies is save them and save them and save them, and then you've got so many scrapbooking supplies you don't know what to do. So use them. That's why you get them. That's why you want to enjoy them, is use them. And so that's going to be my theme for this year, I think, is using more embellishments instead of hoarding embellishments. Don't hoard your embellishments. Good grief, I've got iris boxes full of embellishments that, oh, they're too pretty to use. I mean, that's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. And you know, maybe you don't do that and you're really good about using your embellishments, but if you're hoarding your embellishments, make it a point to not hoard your embellishments this year and use your embellishments up. Because at a certain point, there are certain colors that kind of go out of style. So use them with the things that are in style for the year. And so there's my layout with my little embellishments all around. And it's very pink and very glittery, and it's just right up my alley. So there's my January 2019 Sketchy Challenge Creative Scrapbooker Magazine layout. So hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it. I really enjoyed doing this one for you, and hope you like it too. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and come visit me at my blog at .scrapbooking.com. Bye!